Let me go on to a few other things that we can do on the education side. One of the questions that they had was, how are marks distributed? So this is a distribution of class 10 English marks. And you'll find that the number of students who scored 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 100% is shown here. And it's roughly a normal curve, which means that there are very few students who score low, very few students who score high, and students are clustered around the 60, 65%. But you notice something interesting here. There is a spike exactly at 35 marks. You know what this is, right? Any guesses?
Pass marks?
35
Exactly.
It's an outlier.
Exactly. And what's happening here is that the children who score 34 or 33, when their papers are corrected by the English teachers, they just say, well, look, just 1 mark. Let's have them pass. Let's have them pass. And somewhere between 30 to 34, the teacher's discretion kicks in and they add a few marks, and therefore we have the spike at 35. But it's not only at 35. It looks like some of them go to 36. So they say, okay, yeah, let's give them 1 more mark and let them just pass. But what's interesting about this is that there are still some students who fail at 34, which means there are some English teachers who say, no, why should that child pass? I'm in a bad mood. No luck. Either that or the student had better pray, hoping that at least if they're a borderline student, the right teacher correct their paper. Otherwise, they run the risk of not getting the benefit of doubt. Now, the strange thing is that this data had been with the department for many, many, many years, but they did not know this. They knew that a certain amount of moderation was happening. They did not know that in English, only some students get the benefit of doubt, but some do not, which is not the case in social science. In social science, not a single student gets between 30 and 35. Almost every teacher consistently marks them up and takes them to 35. So the department was actually quite surprised. Why is it that the social science seems to have got their act together, but the English teachers have not? And I must say that I said not a single child, but that's not true. There were 3 students who got exactly 30, 31, and 32 and failed. I don't know what it is that these 3 did, but for whatever reason, they bore the brunt of it. Maybe their paper was corrected by the same teacher who happened to be in a particularly bad mood that day. The same is true for mathematics. Almost no one fails between 30 and 35, but there are a couple of other things that are interesting. That this is capped at 40,000 for consistency with the previous slides. I just kept it at the same scale, but in reality, it goes kind of beyond the ceiling. There are over 100,000 students that got exactly 35 in mathematics. In other words, this is one of those subjects where a lot of students fail and the teachers are just pushing them up. But the second interesting thing is there is a spike at 100 as well. You don't find that here. It dips towards 100, but here it rises towards 100. Why do you think that might be?
So we could say partiality. I'd say partiality between certain students. So they're at 99 or 98. They just push them one mark further or half mark further. So like if they have 99 and a half plus half mark somewhere just like that, or if they have 99 just plus 1 mark.
Okay, Omkar?
It may also be because it's kind of hard to deduct marks in math subject, because maths is entirely factual. So there's nothing really that you can put your bias on and say, okay, let's give it a mark here or let's take a mark here. Unless if the students, if they solve everything correctly, write down all the steps, getting 100 is pretty, I won't say easy, but it's there, it's possible. So
yeah, but I won't say that, because teachers are always looking to cut marks wherever there's like a slightest or slight mistakes, especially mathematics. The math teachers, they are like, they want you to try hard such that there is no mistake. And as everyone says, no one is perfect in this world.
Well, I'm not going to debate why this happens. In fact,
in IGCSE, I think there will be a spike at 99, because if you get full marks, they'll recheck the paper 10 times and look for the smallest possible mistake to deduct 1 mark. They won't do that unless you get 100.
That's a very interesting point.
Or if you fail, they look at it again to make sure, because they don't want to just fail someone accidentally.
Well, let's take a quick look
either
at
like
that.
You have 100 marks, they cut it, and if you're just about to pass, they just add marks.
So
technically, I don't think they would cut marks if you're capped at 100 because you want your students to pass. It brings a good name to you, to your school, to the class and stuff. You don't want to cut marks. Teachers technically tend to try and give their students as many marks as possible. As
one
far
of the
as,
things
they
that
can.
we must learn
Which
actually
actually
out of
also
this.
brings me to the social science and English point. Because again, in social science, it's easy to give marks here and there saying, okay, this is partially correct. Sure, we can give marks. But then when it comes to English, when it comes to grammar, at least there's a right. It's either right or either wrong. So it becomes harder to give marks. So that may also...
In math, it's not, in English at least it's partially right or partially wrong, and you can like have some leeway. But in
Omkar, your
math,
hand is raised.
you only get the mark if you get everything right.
Okay, I notice Omkar's hand is raised.
Yeah, so these exams, are they corrected by external examiners or is it?
Exactly.
Yeah, it is by external examiners. This is the
Right.
Go on, Chitra.
Yeah, I was about to say the deductions or inferences of bias and so on and so forth could be wrong, because these are you can look at on the y-axis. These are massive numbers. So this is the board exam, and the statistics is collected from the CBSE board, I guess. So the broad behavior of all teachers to be a little compassionate towards those who scored 39 or 34, 30 to 34, to get them to the next level, could be either at the individual level or what is generally called moderation and things like that, right? There is a systematized compassion in the board corrections, okay? Don't fail anybody between this and that. The Math 100, of course, is not explained by any of these theories. Math 100 may be just a natural thing. So many people score 100.
Sir, could I also say some people, like very rich people, they try to bribe the teachers. That's one more thing. They try to make them give more marks to their students, just like that. So could we consider that as something, or?
Again, considering that we're talking about in the context of board examinations, I don't think you can personally go and visit your board examiner and bribe them because you don't know who's correcting your papers. They're sent state-wise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very unlikely.
That, let me just move on to just one theme. All of these were done just using histograms. All we did was count how many students score a certain number of marks when they watch TV, when they don't watch TV, when they're taking exam for a certain subject. That's it. And with histograms and nothing but histograms, the vast majority of all of the work that we do is accomplished. I'm not saying that's the only technique, but it is easily the most common, the most powerful, and the most fun technique.